Try to say what nothing is. The moment you describe it, you've made it something. This little paradox was a weapon. An ancient con artist could use it to dodge every accusation. Say 2 plus 2 is not 5 and he'd answer, "You're describing a thing that doesn't exist, so you've said nothing at all." For centuries, that loophole was wide enough to drive a lie straight through. Meet the sophist. Not a philosopher seeking truth, but someone who wins arguments through confusion. His favorite ground was the well-being. If no statement can really contradict another, then nobody is ever wrong, and he can never be pinned down. To escape this trap, Plato had to figure out what the word not actually does. Get that right, and the sophist loses his hiding place. Get it wrong, and the truth itself stays out of reach. Start simple. The word does two different jobs. Sometimes it states identity. This thing is the very same as that thing. Sometimes it states attribution. This thing has a certain property. Take a dog. The dog is a father. That's attribution. He has the property of fatherhood. But the dog is not my father. That denies an identity. He isn't the same individual as my dad. Same little word, two jobs. And here, not is doing ordinary, harmless work. Now the dangerous reading. The sophist insists that to negate is to say the thing which is not. To point your finger at a non-existent object floating in the dark. On that reading, every denial is empty because it names a phantom. But that's a trick of grammar. Negation never points at a ghost. Watch what it really does with a single ordinary example. The color of a book. This book is not black. Does that summon a spooky non-black book into existence? No. It tells you two things. First, the book lacks blackness. Pull the label black out of the color slot, and you leave an empty space, a logical void. But the void can't stay empty. A real book has a real color. So the space immediately fills with something else. Red, blue, green, some other shade in blackness's place. Negation removes one property and installs another. To negate is to lack one thing and possess another instead. Here's the principle. Clean and portable. Not X always means something other than X. Negation isn't annihilation, it's substitution. It never leaves you staring into nothing, it hands you an alternative. This is the machine Plato built. And once you have it, you can aim it at the hardest case of all. If that holds for a book's color, watch what it does to mathematics. 2 plus 2 is not 5. Apply the rule. This is not gibberish, and it is not just your opinion. It means 2 plus 2 is something other than 5, and that something is a definite value, 4. The claim points at a fact, not a phantom. It isn't true for you and false for me, because 4 is 4 regardless of who's speaking. The sophist wanted you to think the denial said nothing. The denial says something exact. It says the answer lives somewhere other than 5, and we know precisely where. This seems obvious now. It wasn't. When Plato worked, formal logic did not yet exist. Aristotle wouldn't assemble that toolkit for another generation. Plato navigated these ambiguities by hand without the rules we take for granted. And that's exactly why the danger was real. The more confusion surrounding being and not being, the more plausible the sophistry. No logic on the shelf meant no easy way to call the cheat. Plato was building the floor while standing on it. And here's why this small repair changed everything. Climb the ladder. First rung, coherent negation. Once not has a real structure, you reach the second rung, the possibility of falsehood. When one person says 2 plus 2 is 5 and another says it is not, the first can no longer dodge by claiming the reply said nothing. The reply means something and it contradicts him. That unlocks the third rung, the possibility of truth. A claim only counts as true if it could have been false. No falsehood, no truth. They rise together, one structure holding both. Top rung. There are no dark corners left. The sophist can't vanish into the fog of being and not being anymore. He must answer yes or no like everyone else. By securing the structure of one small word, Plato secured the difference between a real claim and an empty noise. between getting it right and getting it wrong. He defined exactly who the sophist is and how he operates. Secure the word not, and you secure the difference between truth and lies. That's the corner Plato painted the sophist into.